You are welcome once again on the Behind Recapped. Military put up an unparalleled combat against Russia's annexation of their So what exactly is the truth? In the back of this obstruction, the Russian invasion of Ukraine was resisted by means of the Ukrainian Navy. In what methods allows have a study it collectively. Let's to recognize this. Let's first take a look at the nation of the struggle even. Although Russia had only some days to capture manage of all of Ukraine, they were simplest able to occupy 4 districts through a sequence of counter-operations. The Ukrainian Navy changed into able to retake control of most people of these territories. Kherson turned into the best provincial capital in Ukraine that Russia became able to take from Ukraine. However, the Ukrainian army changed into a success in using the Russians out of Kherson and ending their career. This triumph thwarted each unmarried one of Russia's aims, a decisive victory over Russia changed into done via the Ukrainian Navy. Following the Ukrainian Army's triumph, everybody began boasting approximately how a hit they have been. The Ukraine has had the most fulfillment of any USA in counter-operations involving drones. The Ukrainian military's fulfillment in this battle may be attributed in enormous part to the usage of drones. Using drone generation has essentially altered the way battles are felt. So how precisely did the era in the back of drums advance so considerably? How did this traditionally giant technological breakthrough, which had an effect on the route of human records, play a role within the conflict among Russia and Ukraine? Permits look into this count mutually. In factor of truth, researchers and improvement on drone era dates again quite some years, because the digicom and radar era have been so primitive at the time. It can handiest be used at very near variety because of advancements in wireless connectivity and software generation. Drones might also now be tracked from many kilometers away. This turned into previously not possible, despite the fact that these drones were simplest capable to examine. Crucial studies on this subject matter has been executed through a variety of different international locations and organizations. But the weight of the missiles made it impossible for drones to move them. Each the weight and carrying capacity of drones have their decreased at the same time as lighter missiles have been manufactured. This resulted inside the production of armed unmanned aerial cars. In this sense, Turkey is accountable for the most first-rate studies. Studies in this area first were given underway in Turkey within the year 1986. Drones beneath the emblem named Director had been launched onto the marketplace after vast quantities of time were spent accomplishing research and exams. Experts inside the army have anticipated that those drawers will fundamentally adjust the generation utilized in battle as a result of flying at extraordinarily excessive altitudes by way of Raptor. Drones were able to avoid detection by means of the radars. In addition, it changed into capable of inflict tremendous harm on antagonistic objectives, thanks to the very correct missiles that it carried. In addition, there may be no form of air defense generation which could prevent direct charge drones from finishing their missions. This provides a giant area all through the path of combating. All through this warfare, Turkey, which is an essential member of nature, provided a good-sized number of drones to the Ukraine. Those drones have been employed by the Ukrainian military to attack Russian army goals and destroy them. Thanks for a not unusual target for these drones in fight. The tanks of the Russian military have been broadly taken into consideration to be their greatest power. But with the help of those drones, the Ukrainian army became capable of effects damage the Russian tanks. There has been a complete lack of 2897 tanks for the Russian army. The Russian Navy suffered a lack of several tens of millions of greenbacks as a jacked consequence of these movements. There is just now not sufficient time for the Russian military to fabricate new tanks. Additionally, due to international embargoes, Russia is not able to buy tanks. Presently, the financial system of Russia has practically disintegrated into nothingness. Because of this, Russia was not able to apply tanks on this battle. Through the destruction of Russian tanks, the Ukrainian military become capable of halt the advance of the Russian Navy, despite the fact that this victory also gave an extensive benefit from a psychological viewpoint, to price these activities. Footage was recorded by cameras established on drones. Those pictures had been disseminated to the media on an everyday foundation by the Ukrainian Defense Force. The Ukrainian people gained a more experience of willpower and wish. As a result of those triumphs, the people of Russia then again witnessed how essential their navy changed into inside the face of those attacks, and they arrived to the conclusion that they had been going to lose this warfare. A unique march was prepared through artists from Ukraine, mainly for Barakar. In honor of Ukraine's Day of Independence, a version of the city of Barakar was created out of flora and located in a parking cave at the Navy parade. The people of Ukraine cheered for the drones that had been made by means of the Bayraktar-bred Ukrainian folds, even enjoyed Bayraktar fashions. By utilizing these drones, the Ukrainian militia had been able to advantage a mental advantage. Further to this, the whole world witnessed the achievements of Ukraine. It became extensively believed that the conflict might be over in a pretty quick quantity of time, whilst the invasion of Russia first commenced. Zelensky changed into informed by way of Western states that must he decide to escape, they could dispatch a personal aircraft to pick him up and take him away. However, Zelensky recommended you ought to no longer go away. However, instead, the fight the Western governments had been skeptical that Ukraine should be successful in this conflict. However, the Western governments got their hopes up after seeing photos of the Ukrainian military smashing way down on tanks. The Western powers extended the amount of useful resource that they sent to Ukraine in precise countries, which includes the United States of the United Kingdom, and Germany, have contributed billions of dollars to the Ukrainian authorities. Any other benefit added about by way of advances and drone technology became a decrease within the variety of lives lost by means of infantrymen serving in the Ukrainian army, for the reason that drones are unmanned cars. The fact that they collided in AM does no longer mean that any Ukrainian infantrymen were killed in the incident. Whilst facing off towards the Ukrainian military, the Russian army, which had a reasonably large population, become pretty densely populated. Due to this, the Ukrainian navy changed into able to put off Russian soldiers quicker and with a smaller variety of personnel via utilizing drones. Overseas, total of 85,000 Russian troops lost their lives even as serving within the military. This parent represents the greatest lack of military personnel, for the reason that quit of the Second World Warfare, a historic defeat became inflicted upon Russia. The Ukrainian military, which changed into a success in rescuing Kherson, intends to apply those drones of their operations in the Crimea, considering the fact that the start of the conflict, Russia has been operating at the improvement of the approach to protect itself in opposition to those drones. The Russian Navy, alternatively, is actually defenseless towards these drones. The use of drone era has essentially altered warfare. Further, Turkey's status inside the worldwide network stepped forward as a direct end result in their usage of drones.